Hi everybody, Jo here again. Welcome to a little bit of time in my craft room with me. I hope you've had a lovely weekend and that your new week has started well. Let's hope it's a good one for all of us. We can but hope, can't we? Now, we're going to do some work in the journal again today. But like I keep saying, for those of us who are card makers, don't just write off journaling videos, because a lot of what we do in our journal is just an extension of our card making. And again, the hints, the tips, the techniques, most of them, I won't say all of them because I know somebody will tell me that there's one that isn't, but most of them can be used in your card making. So whatever type of crafter you are, you know, I know scrapbooking, a lot of you do scrapbooking, which is lovely. Now, today I've got some PhDs, our project half done, and thanks to Abs for that. I love the fact that I now have some PhDs. I'm going to include some of these in my journal. And so this is my pile of my backgrounds, all the things that we've done. So I'm going to root through that, but also I've got these almost the last 2 pages in my journal. I have got a couple more, so it's not quite finished, and I promise I'll do a run through. But I've had a message from Lorraine and Mandy, and they've both said they got journals for Christmas and they're scared. They don't know how to start. So the biggest thing I would say is don't feel that you have to start on your front page. I didn't do this first at all. All I did was opened mine, let it flop open, and I started at whatever page flopped open. And so I randomly go through. So I have got empty pages, look. Well, that's just a clean up stencil page, still waiting to be filled. And today I'm working on the back page. Now that's just a suggestion. It might be you're somebody who wants to actually make a story in your journal, in which case you probably want to start at page 1 and work your way through. Again, I'm not here, there's no right and wrong answer. All we do here at Lavinia is we offer lots of different takes and ideas of how, you know, you can go with your crafting journey, and you take from our videos what you would like. If there's bits you don't want to take, do you know what? Don't bother taking it. You know, look away. We're just here to try and help you and almost spur on that creativity, because I know some of you do get a little bit stuck. Well, to be fair, we all get stuck, don't we? Mr. Mojo goes on holiday, we get stuck in a rut. So I'm thinking these are at the top, and I'm thinking these are what I'm going to use today. And this is where, if you joined me the other week, I think it was the other week, do you know what time? What is it like? Sometimes I don't even know what day it is. And I'm sure you're the same, please. It's not just me. This is what we did with the stamping foam. Fabulous stamping foam and a stamp. And I know quite often we produce these things and you want to know where you would take it. So if you're new, like Lorraine and Mandy, so when it comes to putting something in your journal, I'm just going to take these two. And we'll put all those, oh, look, I've got so many. We're going to file those over there. And I hope they don't fall off my table like they did the other day. And I'm thinking we'll have a double page spread. Now, often what I tend to do is if I think I like that, I will often move it round to double check, and actually I prefer that. Somehow, I don't know why, but just for me in my head, I like that way. Now I'm thinking I could just put a sentiment on here, but I'd quite like to create a little scene. And then I'm thinking maybe some stencil work in the background just to tie it all together. But I'm going to concentrate on the colours I've used so that it almost... And often for me, if you want a piece to look like it all belongs together, stick with your colours. You don't need to introduce too many colours. So when we created these backgrounds, we used Della Blue and Bermuda. So they're the 2 colours of the Elements ink that I've got out to use. Now, I've got a little piece of card, look at that, it's got a mark on, so we can turn it over. And I'm thinking that gives me enough that we can see this beautiful background, but I'd like to just put a design on there. And you know what? It always amazes me. I mean, I keep every scrap of card. I'm sure you do. But it always amazes me. That's 4.5 inches by 2.5. How much you can get on a small piece of card. So what we'll do is we'll pop our journal to the side. And I will warn you, ladies, when you start with your journal, this is the large journal and this is the textured one, space becomes, do you know what? I just never seem to have enough space. My craft table, I have stuff everywhere. Now, we're going to stick with these colours, aren't we? So I'm going to use my little blending sponges for this. And I'm just going to add, let's start with the blue. I always take it off in the lid. And we'll just add some blue at the top. And I know you're going to ask, why am I using a sponge rather than a brush? And just for me, I get a deeper colour when I'm blending such an area like this. So, for example, if I show you, I've got my green brush here. If I just bring the green on, you see it takes me longer to build the colour up. So I just find for me, I can get a deeper colour quicker by using my, if I was going through a stencil, I would use my brush. And if I was doing a light landscape, but because I'm thinking of making almost a blended background and then adding some stamping on top, well, that's the idea anyway. And I want it quite deep. That's why I'm using my blending tools. So I'm going to put the lids on. Now, I possibly will spritz this with water, but I'll wait till later. And again, just because if I spritz it now, I'm just going to clean my tip. If I spritz it now, I have to wait for it to dry, or I could dry it with my heat tool. So I think we'll do our stamping first. So it's not very good, is it? Have we got some clean? There we go. Let's look a bit more professional. A bit of clean copy of paper. Now, maybe if I just get the background out. Oh, you see, I like, again, it just shows you using those colours that match. So I'm thinking Garden Poppy. I haven't used this one for a while, and it's a silhouette stamp. And what I'm thinking is I've got a piece of black, look, to matte and layer. And I'm thinking when this goes on here, can you tell I'm doing a lot of thinking today? Sorry, I do seem to repeat my words a lot. But if I do silhouette stamping, it'll really look bold and show up. And that's the idea anyway. But I have told you before, it's not always good knowing what goes on in my head, is it? So we'll use the VersaFine Clair, the Nocturne. So that's the black. And again, it's a silhouette stamp. So we'll give it a good oomph. Look at that. I love this stamp. And I haven't used it for a while. That's the other thing with, you know, your journaling. It's if you've no idea what to do on a page, it's quite nice to actually go through your stamps and look at stamps that you haven't used for a while. Because we all tend to have sort of favourites and ones that go out of favour. Right, I just need, as much as I want 3, I'm just thinking it needs a little bit there. Just, yes, I like that. So just give my stamp a wipe, just with a wet cloth. And again, I'm just somebody who likes to wipe my stamps. If you don't, that's fine. They're your stamps, that's up to you. Now, I've got one of the lovely, I don't want to do my black silhouette right across, but I do want some deep colour in this corner. And I'm thinking this lovely fairy charm. And if you haven't got these fairy charms, they're absolutely fabulous stamps because you can either have them hanging down or I've used them before almost like they're growing upwards. But they just, sometimes when you want something and you don't know what, and we've got the Christmas ones as well with the star on and the bauble, and I think they are so useful. but I just need something in the bottom here. And I'm thinking our good old favourite, the orchard grass. Now, I've got the black, but I'm just wondering whether to bring a little bit more blue in. So you know how we do that thing of using two colours? So that's what I'm thinking, warm breeze. And with the orchard and the field grass, there's such lovely wispy stamps that I love to do these in two colours. So we're going to come over the top with the black, but a bit of this in the, and I just think the blue there, sort of the wispiness. Now, like I say, this is going in my journal, but if you're a card maker, this would make, let's just clean that off while we chat, this would make a beautiful design for a card. And we're just going to do a little bit of black on top, look, not too much, but just to make it look that lovely cohesive, as our Sir Tim Holtz-ness says, it just looks a cohesive design, and those colours, don't they look beautiful? Now, you know I'm a big sort of orange fan. It happens to be my favourite colour. Right, don't overcook it, Mrs. Rice. Don't spoil it. No pizzas. That's enough. Stop. Walk away. So, orange is my favourite colour. Now, this would look lovely with orange and green. You know, you could alter this. Again, if you were making notelets for somebody, you could actually use your same stamping design, but change the colour in the background. And I think that would look lovely. Now, let's bring in our topper that we'd made and just put that. And look at that. Now, just wonder if this was a card, you could even put that there and have a lovely sentiment there, or a ribbon across there with a nice bow. So, you know, there are so many possibilities with these designs. And I think that's the thing, you know, when you see the possibilities and where you can take them. Just want to get my fan brush. And let's just add a little bit, just to add a bit more interest here. So we're just adding some water, and that'll just faux bleach. Obviously our stamp in there is permanent ink, so that won't move at all. It's just the elements with it being dye based that'll faux bleach. And again, we'll get this lovely speckled effect. And the longer you leave it, obviously, the more, almost like the more white it looks. I like to dab mine just so I get that lovely, and we'll have belt and braces, so we'll give it a bit of a dry as well. Front and back. I always love this. Look, you always get such a lovely pattern on the back from your craft mat. So we'll give that a bit of a dry. And as I say, look, it just adds that nice bit of interest. Now, I think we need a little bit of sparkle. So I'm going to use this is the glitter, the sparkly Posca. And I love this yellow one. I'm just thinking, just to add a little bit, just on these. Again, I could use white. We tend to use white. Sometimes in the journal, it's nice to just use something different and not always stick with the same. And then when you look through, it gives you ideas of, you know, sometimes you prefer things. But I just think a couple of, we'll have that on there, a little bit on there. Now here we can either do our splats, or we can just add some, I think we'll do a bit of both. I think we'll add some of them, but can't resist a few splats. So we'll just have, and again, just controlling, holding the nib close, and then I control exactly where I want them. But I'll just give that a wipe with our Inky Binky. And that, I'm going to wait for that to dry and then pop that on there. Now, I could introduce the circle, could put a moon there if we wanted, but I'm happy with that as it is. I'm thinking of leaving that. So I'm thinking that's going to go there. But I fancy putting one of our cheeky little mice on here. Now, I've got them out, but I'm not sure whether they're going to go. So let me have a look. See, I'm wondering, what do you think? Oh, I know. I could put, if I put, right, do I like the music or the, I think we'll go for him. Now let me flip him over because I know you've got to know what they go. So this set is Basil and Bibi. You know me, I'm afraid I'm terrible with names. Right, he's not really going to fit on there, so we'll pop him on here. And then I'll just get my check his sticking. I'm going through that thing. I don't know about you. My stamps, some of them aren't sticking. I need to make sure I wipe the back. I seem to be getting glitter everywhere at the minute. So we'll give him a good inking up. And I've just caught my stamp block a bit. Just a bit at his back there. Right, so I'm thinking if that's going to go there, I could possibly just put him down here. And the idea, the reason I've gone for him is I'm thinking I could add some of my posca to his light, and again that would tie in the whole design. Just keep that nice cohesive. Now again, we've got some little splats there, that's fine, I'm happy with that. So we can move this away. Now I just want to ground him a little. So I've got my pastel pencils. So let's just come in, ground him a little and give it a smudge just to, he just looks better if he looks like he's a random. So he's not floating. Now because this is such a tiny area and I don't want my posca, I'm just slightly worried that it might spill out because I'm not very gentle or delicate with it. So what I'm actually going to do is pop some on my acrylic block and then just pick it up with my paintbrush. And I'm just going to paint around there, and it's much easier to just paint it on. And then we'll just add a little bit of a glisten to him. And again, I just find it easier, so I'm sorry if my head comes over, just find it easier with the paintbrush rather than the, and we'll wipe that up later. So while that's drying, we'll just attach, and again we'll do a bit of belt and braces, some tape and some bippity boppity glue. And again, I'm just going to use my finger to bring it right to the edge so it glues all the way. And then let's just pop that there. And we'll just wipe that up. And we'll do that again. Now you could use some foam if you wanted it to be raised. I'm quite happy having mine flat. And again, I'm just going to spread that with my finger to the edge and bring this in. And let's just hold it roughly where we think. Where do we think? I'm thinking there. Well, we're going to go for that. And he's there beautifully holding the light for us, look. So this could be a card design and you could put a sentiment here. And in fact, we could add a sentiment now, couldn't we? So let me look. Got a couple of sheets of these on. Now this is the last page in my, I'm going to go for magical. I just think the whole of my journal for me is magical. So as always, I'm just going to get my scissors and we'll pop magical in that corner there. And hopefully I've got a fine liner so I can just edge it a little just to make it a bit more pronounced. I could have put it on my black card. I've got some spare black card, but I think that'll be fine. And the last thing I'm thinking of adding here, remember the other week when we made our little butterflies? And I have kept my spare ones in my little tin, my beautiful little tin I got from the Lavinia shop last time I went. And I'm thinking the butterflies got blue on. And I think that would just look lovely there. And it follows that diagonal. I could, although, look, I could add it. Oh, now I'm in a dilemma. Do I think it looks nice there? Maybe I'll wait till I put it in my journal to decide. Do you know what? I'm going to put it back in my tin, but that's definitely going on here. So that certainly would make a lovely card design, wouldn't it? But if we go back to our journal, and I just want to add a little bit of interest on this side. And because of the sort of square almost design in the background, when I was looking through my stencils, I've decided to use this one. And it's lovely because I haven't used it very much. And this one is called Lattice. In fact, I've got to be honest, I don't think I've used it before at all. So journal is a great place to use an experiment. So here we go, we're going to experiment. And because I'm using a stencil, I'm going to come in with my stencil brushes. And I'm just sort of going to do a combination, I think, of the blue and the green, almost in blocks. So let's just have a go. Let's add a little bit of green here. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I like that. I think I want it a bit deeper in the corner, though. And then we add an area of blue. Yeah. And then back to the green. And I think I'm just going to do that for a little bit. I want that a bit stronger, so yes, I love the way that's looking. So we'll do a little bit more blue. Now it's just remembering which stencil brush is going in which colour. And then blue down here. And then green. And I might just bring the green in a bit further, just so they're not all the same. I want to keep it a bit random. There we go. If I just move it that way a little bit, you can see. So I'm liking the look of that, and I'm thinking that. So if I do some more over here, I think that's lovely. So let's go for green in the corner again, I think. And then blue. I have to say I like this stencil. Isn't it funny? I haven't used it before. It's going to be one of those. Can you tell I'm going to be using it again and again? I'm going to put some green here. And then some blue. Let's have a look. Yeah. So happy with that. I love that. Now, what I want to see is if we do some stencil work on the opposite side to tie it all together, what will, you see, that goes, yeah. I'm not going to do as much, but we can add some light stencil work across this side. So what I'm going to do is where we've got it here, let's carry it along. So that's the blue, and that's the blue there. So it flows. We want a good flow. You have to concentrate, don't you? Otherwise, you know what's going to happen. This wrong stencil brush is going to go in the wrong ink. Right. So that looks nice. I like the way that flows across there. And that's going to go there. Little bit in this corner and job done. Don't want too much. Don't want to overcook this corner. So a little bit of green. And then I just think a touch of blue either side. Check. I was checking then. I thought somebody shouted, that's the blue brush. Luckily it was not the green. Right. Yeah, that's just enough, isn't it? Right, let's put the lids on these ink pads. Check they're the right one. Blue on blue, yeah. Green on green. And we'll pop this in. Really do like that stencil. And it would look lovely with the clean up from the stencil. So if you would have the opposite where you had the lattice work. I think that would look lovely as well. And again, always remember to use that clean up. Come on. Right, let's have some glue. Have you got a brew? Must admit, I've got a glass of water here. I'm trying to be good. It's January, trying to be good. Won't last, will it? Ooh, nearly put that in upside down. Right, let's have a look. I'm thinking there. And again, I tend to try and get in the habit of using a bit of kitchen towel to press down, just in case I've got grubby fingers. I don't want to spoil it, or in case anything here is still wet. And let's pop this one in. I think I'm going to use a little bit of, got some 3D, just to make the centre raised a little bit. There we go. No, actually I don't want the centre raised. Change my mind. Do you ever do that? I'm going to put it flat. So how many times do you do that? Sometimes I think these things are supposed to, when we change our minds. So again, see, we could offset it, but I'm thinking, no, I like it in the middle. I'm thinking middle for diddle. Oh, nearly was. Squidgy there. And again, if you've got lots of inclusions underneath, remember to give it a good press. Maybe lift it up a little, put some foam underneath. You know, certainly as your journal fills up like mine's doing. Now what I'm thinking is we need to add our butterfly. Glad I put him back in my tin. If I'd left him on my desk, he would have definitely flown off somewhere. So we were thinking, weren't we, there or there? I quite like him there, you know. I'm going to go there. So I'm going to draw his little antennae on, so he's got to go there. Decision made. Got a bit of wiggle time with the glue, so that's good. Now, what I'm thinking is, I've got the lovely yellow sparkly posca on here, just to make it definitely go on this side. Let's add a little bit on here. Just a little. Just because we want it, as I say, that lovely cohesive design. So we'll add a little bit of the yellow. Just a couple of, and then as I say, it looks like we've thought about it. And you know what I'm going to need? Some lovely splats with this. Just coming across And again, if you're not into your splats, don't add them, leave it off. For me, I just think it finishes it off. And here, look, in this space, to make your eye go from this side of the journal page to this side, I want it to follow. And I held it close there, just so I haven't got too many over our lovely little man. And so there's that side. And then if we look, there's this side. And as I say, for me, with these splats, the eye now just wanders across there, and we've bridged that gap. We don't want it to look like two separate pages. I want it to look like it's one lovely design. And I love that, all that. So when you've got your backgrounds, this is just one little way of how to add your two backgrounds and make it look like it's a lovely cohesive double page spread. So I hope you enjoyed that. And Lorraine and Mandy, I hope you get your first page done. Just think of us being with you in your craft room. Have fun, and please share them with us on social media. I love to see what you do. And there's so many now joining in with our journaling journey. So maybe if you're a card maker and you're just thinking about it, go on, take the plunge. It's January. Let's have fun together. Anyway, I'd better get on. You take care. Thanks for popping in today. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.